Hello world and people who are here to watch the Larson graduation. We do have a graduation and our memorization recital is today. So we have a graduation for somebody who has worked hard to get this completed, and she really deserves the airtime and having this memorialized, because I think more than anybody that I can remember, maybe Phyllis has somebody better, but this is somebody who was really determined to finish. But before that, our fundamental thing at Larson, our goal is to help people get stable and meaningful employment. And the number one tool that we use to do that is to get people to remember stuff, to memorize stuff, to know stuff. Too much of today's education is becoming introduced to ideas and concepts, but not really knowing it and having it memorized. For example, there's a difference between having your multiplication tables memorized and knowing how to go to your computer, your calculator, your smartphone, and do the math on your phone. There's a big difference between the two. And here, what we focus on is getting people to actually learn things so they become competent. And when you're competent in a thing, you can be confident in that thing. If you just have an introduction to things, then you're not really going to be confident, and so you won't be competent. So that's what we do. And along those lines, we start with how does the brain work on a cellular level, comparing our brains to other brains. And so we're always looking at that stuff for memory. So something was just published, a study report was published about how important sleep is to your brain. And it's on Huffington Post today. And this is like new stuff that people didn't know. For example, it was only a few years ago that scientists really knew why we sleep. There's a lot of ideas of why we sleep, but they didn't really know why we slept until a couple years ago. A lot of ideas, a lot of them were wrong. One of the things they just discovered was that our brains are more active when we're asleep than when we're awake. Okay, now somehow Matt knew that, but most people didn't know that. I didn't know that. That was a big surprise to me, that our brains are more active while we're sleeping than while we're awake. One of the things that our brains do that they just discovered is that while we're sleeping, they flush toxins out of our brains, actually getting rid of toxins and not good stuff. That happens when we're asleep. So part of sleeping, it's important because it helps brain function. Another thing that the brain does is it sorts through all of the memories and things we experience during the day to figure out what we need to keep and what we don't need to keep. And then the stuff that we need to keep, in this video, they describe it as like a librarian sorting, cataloging, where are these memories going to be stored so we can retrieve them later. So it's very important stuff. But more and more things come back to the ability to remember stuff. Also, another thing was in there, that heavy cocaine use. Did you read this? Oh, okay. You're just giving good positive verbal, non-verbal feedback. Okay. So heavy cocaine use causes brain cells to cannibalize each other, or to cannibalize themselves. That it gets, what brain cells do is, as part of their process of getting rid of old brain cells, is they release a little bit of acid into the thing to flush out the toxins. So there's a little sac, so your brain cells do, just very simply, is they take this excess stuff, these toxins and things, they put it into a little sac, it's called an autophage, they put it into there, and then they release a little bit of acid into that, and it destroys that, and it gets flushed out of that sac.
But if you're doing coke, what happens instead?
Now, if you're doing cocaine, what happens is that process gets accelerated, so it destroys the whole cell. instead of that little sac that has the toxins in it, so they get flushed out,
Mhm.
it destroys the whole brain cell.
Acts like a prion, basically.
What's a prion? I don't know.
That's bad cow disease, where basically it attacks the cells and eats them, so you get like Swiss cheese for appearance in the brain.
Well, yeah, they didn't describe what your brain looks like. It just was that it hyper does what it's supposed to do, and the whole cell gets destroyed. And they described it as cannibalizing the cell. So, so fundamentally here, it's about remembering stuff. And more things are coming out that are confirming what we teach here, which is I am my connectome.
When we put the posters up, Mike kept saying that, and I'm like, what the hell are you saying? I don't know what that means.
Okay, so that's Sebastian's song.
Okay.
And he is I don't know if he's Harvard somewhere, but the connectome is the connections of all the neurons in your brain.
So it's an actual word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an actual word, connectome. And there's only, how many connectomes have been plotted?
3, no.
I think it's, no, one. How many connectomes? One. When Sebastian Song did his thing, it was one, a worm, C. elegans, that had 300 neurons. And all of the connections of all the neurons were mapped.
That's a big number, even 300.
Yeah. And so his point was the connections of the neurons in our brain make our DNA. DNA is minuscule compared to the connections in our brain. So that's an important thing we do. And that's the fundamental part of the school versus other schools. It's important to remember stuff, to be a good employee, and to be able to thus have stable and meaningful employment. So today, though, is we have a graduation of, where's Deanna's papers? Oh, can you pass those forward, please? Of Deanna's completion. And let's see where we at. Okay, so Deanna's completion of everything here, and what I do at this point is I usually like to talk about how that person made the school better. And usually it's like Theo or somebody based upon how they participated in a way that other people got involved directly, right? So they helped other people. Mike was somebody that Mike Anderson showed, that came in, was resistant, but then when he got it, he really got it, and then was good at telling other people Larson is a place to go to. And Theo was good because he could be counted on to say something completely off the wall and would draw everybody's attention to it. And that would help learn, help remember stuff. Dwayne was another guy. Dwayne Floyd was another guy who didn't want to come. I sort of convinced him to come as opposed to Scally. Scally sent up, but I sort of convinced him to try it. And he was very good at helping other people. On the one hand, directly helping other people. On the second hand, though, he was very annoying on test day because he would be helping the person next to him. And other people were getting frustrated that they couldn't concentrate. Remember that? Anybody remember that?
So we have one person cheat for everybody?
It was not that he was cheating, it was helping them get to create the document or do a thing, especially people that were new. So he was very helpful. So this went from a guy who was reluctant and resistant to be here to somebody who had an attitude of, I can do it, you can do it, and I'm going to help you do it. And then many times during the tests on Friday, every Friday, many times you'd hear, hey, Phil. So, but Deanna's thing wasn't that. Deanna, mainly, my experience with Deanna was focused on doing her work. When I would call on Deanna, I would have a sense of, before I call on people, because before I call on people, I ask myself the question, should I call on this person? Okay. So, and sometimes I would call on Theo to get the expected response from Theo. And other times, like if we're running out of time, I need to call on somebody who's going to have the right answer instead of something that's just completely in a different thing. So when I would call on Matt or other people in here. But I would know, I would have a sense when I would call on Deanna, I would get an answer that was good. And also, Deanna was a good litmus test that if Deanna was understanding, the message was getting across. Not that everybody was getting, but that I was getting the message across that I want. Because, you know, when you're up here, you know, I know, anybody that's up here knows, you know, not just up here, but anywhere. It could be at Harvard. You know that some people are just not going to get it. And other people got it before you even said it. So there's this bell curve of people. And so for me, if Deanna got it, then that meant I'm on track with what I'm trying to get across, because I can't gauge it towards the slowest person, right? Because what happens?
Well, then
there's no progress, right? We can never move forward because some people really, their moving forward is going from 2 words typing to 20 words typing. And that's not that level of typing, but for that person, it's good. But we can't do that as a class and as a school and as a team and as people that are working together. So Deanna was very good from that point, that if I call on Deanna and she wasn't at the dentist the day before, then we would get it. But that's not really the biggest help that Deanna had for the school. The biggest help was getting Casa Grande back on board for something, because Deanna's the first person that ever had movement restricted that got movement back. And really it was Deanna's doing. It was not anything that we did, because the message from Casa Grande has always been, you can decide who you're going to teach, we decide who we're going to send. We don't tell them who to send, and they don't tell us what we teach. But Deanna somehow worked through the system and got back here in order to finish.
Honestly,
nobody thought she was going to say. Nobody ever had come back. Nobody had ever come back. It was always one way. And though not that everybody who left here went back somewhere else, a number of people just stayed at Casa Grande, especially if they didn't have a lot of time. But Deanna was somebody who came back. Who wasn't able to come back? Safira, right? Who else? Well, Grant, no, he went somewhere else. What? Rachel. Rachel wasn't able to come back. Okay, but she wasn't allowed to come back here. Huh? Tom can still come back here. I don't know. Right. Huh? Oh, Ross Nagel, he blew his own brains out. That was he almost got himself rolled up for what he did. So lesson for everybody, do not delete your email accounts. And from the perspective of as a licensed school, that's not your property anymore. When you turn in quizzes and things like that, that's not your property. That's property of the state of Nevada. Because this is a licensed school, and we have to keep records on people. So all of the tests, all the transcripts, all of that stuff is stuff that we have to keep. So in the future, if somebody 20 years from now says, hey, I lost my certificate, I lost this, I need it back, we need to have that material. We need to have the test so that the state knows that we aren't just making this stuff up.
So to get audited, you can prove that the numbers are real.
Yeah, and we do every 2 years at the state. But when people delete all of their stuff,
okay, I deleted somebody's stuff.
Who's?
Oh, I don't know the dude's name. I mean, the garbage can was empty. I emptied the recycling bin.
Okay, that's different. That's
Okay.
not.
All right.
This is taking somebody's email
No.
and then going through the drive and removing all files that you ever were a student.
Defragmenting everything.
But it's taking things off the drive.
Yeah. Okay.
And every file that's not a thing. But you shouldn't want to do it anyway, because this is stuff that 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years from now, you should want to look at to see what you did, what you learned, go back and, continue from there, because this is valuable stuff. I have people all the time, when I send them a link on our Friday quizzes, and they see what the quizzes that we have are, 100% of the time I get, wow, I don't think I can pass that test.
Right.
And that's important for the school, for people to get. We don't do kiddie stuff here. This is stuff. This is, when I'm doing a multiple choice quiz, I'm doing it based upon my frame of reference of law school. That it's very hard to know what the right answer is. And I don't do so much anymore, but there used to be a lot of tricks in there.
There's still a lot more. Yeah.
Okay, I mean a lot. Okay, now there's some in there, but they're not designed to help you pass. They're designed to be like, this is what it's like in the real world. So Deanna made the school better because we got this thing broken with Casa Grande. We broke through this resistance by Casa Grande to have people who lost movement be able to come back. And in the past, so what happened? There was a mistake. In the past, if Casa Grande made a mistake, who suffers? Yeah. It's like, well, sorry, we made a mistake, but you're still not getting your movement back. And so Deanna was able to get it that a mistake had been made, and they fixed it, right?
Yes.
And so, the credit goes to Deanna. This is sort of an important thing. I apologize. Yes, so let's give Deanna a round of applause for that. So Deanna, why don't you come up and give you certificates and go through this. And so with the state of Nevada, you will now and forevermore be recognized as having graduated from Larson. So we have her certificate of achievement for basic business education, 535 hours. Out of how many weeks has this been?
This is going on 17.
Okay. Also, certificate of completion cloud. Brain rush, how many points did you get?
I'm not sure.
25, 29? Okay. So maybe when we do these, we can do that for now. Okay, put that on there. Typing, 45 words per minute. What did you start at?
25.
Good. Good. So you are at that level where you can absolutely work in an office. Memorization. And what's the last one you memorized for?
Fully would have been Jabberwocky.
Okay.
No, I've done that.
Okay. And a certificate to return within a year, for free within the year. So congratulations, Deanna. Thank you. You made the school a better place. If you would like to say anything.
Well, first I would like to thank the director, you, Edward, and Phyllis, for all the help that you've given me. It's so embarrassing. I've learned a lot. I love being here when I first started coming, I was learning something every single day, and I enjoyed that, and I still do. And I'm looking forward to coming back and continue learning. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, but hopefully I'll be able to come back every week until I leave Casa Grande And then a month after I leave Casa Grande, I'm guessing I'm going to be returning home to Reno.
Okay, so the good news on that is our new president, John Wynn, is planning to open a campus in Reno
Yes.
in July.
Yes.
I'm looking for staff.
Yes, and I have spoke with John, and I am considering helping out. Maybe he was saying something about becoming an instructor there, and that is a big eye opener for me. And I'm looking towards that. And I asked him about further training, and he said, "Just go ahead and talk to you." And that's why I really feel that I should take the opportunity that I need to come back and continue learning. And yeah, that would be a really good fit for me, and employment-wise also. And one of the other things that I really liked here was the memorizations. That helped me so much. It feels like my IQ was like at 0 when I first came, because I couldn't remember nothing. And like just throughout the day, like my daily activities. And with the memorization, I noticed that I'm able to remember things. I'd be on the phone with my daughter, and she'd be getting a new number or something, or, and I'd memorize that, or my mom would tell me something, and I'd memorize what she was, trying to get across to me. And so the memorization is really the key to, waking up your connectomes. So, yeah.
And what about TED Talks?
TED Talks I enjoyed too. Oh my gosh, there were so many that I really enjoyed.
What would you say off the top of your head is your favorite?
My favorite one, I would have to say, is I think it was Kelly McGonigal, and when she talked about stress.
Okay.
Oh gosh, because I'm a big worrier and a big stressor. And I've had, in my past, I just stressed too much to the point where I was just so depressed. It made me so depressed throughout my life and what I was going through. But what she said in the TED Talks is like, why worry about that? Why put yourself in that situation? I mean, I already knew that in a way, but she just makes it so clear. And I plan on, when I go home, this is a surprise to my mom, buying her a Chromebook, and we're gonna go over that TED Talks together. And be like,
well, you can join in anytime. You have access to the calendar still.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing. Now, how about Brain Rush?
Yes, Brain Rush. That I noticed it helped me with my memorization also. It played a big part in it, and it just helped me to learn new things, like new math equations and reading. I felt it more memory on the Brain Rush.
Okay, great.
For me.
Anything else?
I hope to see you guys next week.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
What about you? Okay. Okay, that was great. And cut. So now we're going to do our weekly memorization. Is anybody doing prestidigitation?
I wish.
Yeah, we have someone this year.
Oh, yeah. Why keep coming back?
Back where here?
Yeah.
Why should anyone come back?
No, why does this person?
Rashawn.
Whose name I'm not going to mention.
There's got to be something going on. It's getting some pressure for that given flood or something. So instead of, I guess, I don't know. It's a good point.
Well, what would be a good reason?
To learn something.
But does anybody feel you can actually learn if you're only here a couple hours?
It doesn't lead to good habits.
Yeah. I think that would be the key thing, because I would say relating that to going to the gym. If I said, well, I'm going to go to the gym for a couple hours every month, I would think okay, well, I'm there, that's a little bit of improvement. But the thing is, thinking that I'm actually
It looks
okay
so
makes
weak,
it
bro.
actually
It just
worse.
looks like it looks weak. I mean, if you're not gonna come, just blow it off. Don't. That's my opinion.
Okay, so, okay, so who's going to do what parts? Well, we know what Ed is not going to do, right?
Okay, that's got nothing to do with 3, 2, 1.
Okay,
I'll do the 3, 2, 1.
all right.
Okay, but
No.
Sit down. Okay, who's doing the first part?
I'll do it.
You want to do it, Mike? I think Deanna should do it. Let's have our new tradition that the person graduating gets to be the one that says quiet on the set. And the key thing is, if it's not quiet, you got to say, hey, quiet on the set. Do you remember Jamie Beto? Phyllis, were you here when he was here?
No.
Oh, he was already gone.
Yes.
Okay, so Jamie is, he was a guy who really, well, he's a guy who really had to struggle to get through him. He's just not really smart, a lot of issues, short, 3 teeth went out in the middle of his forehead. And he did not give up, but he really was good at the quiet on the set. He would do it. So you have to make sure it's quiet, and then you wait until it's quiet.
Okay.
And so that'll be our new tradition. Okay. All right, good. Who's going to go first?
Yeah.
If I say quiet on the set and 3.
No, I got the right one.
Oh, you got that part?
Yeah.
Quiet on the set.
All right, in 3, 2.
My name is Michael Anderson. I'm here at Larson Training Center, and I graduated on the 18th of December. And I will be reading Amazing Grace by John Newton, 1725 and 1807. But before I read it, I want to say that since I graduated, I see a lot of people is still coming back, and I don't like things to stay the same. So I'm gonna start practicing more on my memorization, because I see people up here practicing, and when I don't practice, I seem like I'm missing out. So I got to better myself.
You can take the book home.
Yeah, I have the book, but I just been doing it. I got a whole lot of things that I put ahead of the other things. So
Got it.
I'm just trying to get back motivated so I can better myself. But here we go. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear that hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares I have already come. 'Tis grace has brought me safe this far, and grace will lead me home. The Lord has promised good to me. His word my holds and secures. He will my shield and portion be as long as life endure. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Thank you.
Okay, good job.
Who's up? All right.
Quiet on the set.
In 3, 2.
All right, I'm Edward Edge. I was a previous student here and graduated. I had one of these poems that I wanted to do, but I found one that was more interesting, and I really don't know it, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. But for next week, I'm going to do it where I can do it without having to use the book. This is from Benjamin Franklin. Mr. Mentu. Mr. Mentu had a comrade, and his name is Didn't Do. if you ever had a chance to meet them, then did they call on you? These two fellows lived together in the house of Neverland. And I'm told that it was haunted by a ghost of might have been, never been, might have been.
Okay. Good job. Now, what does that mean? What's he talking about?
Well, if you don't
Now, wait, coach.
Well, he's talking about two fellows that they could have been something, you know. One, it's like you want to do something, but you're not sure if you can, but you never try how you were going to do it. So it might have been, but if you don't try, you'll never know. So you got to try.
Okay. And who is Benjamin Franklin?
It's the first president of the United States. Sorry, just playing. I know it's George Washington. I'm just playing with you, director. Got to keep you on your toes.
All right.
Yeah. St. Louis, he was an inventor.
He was.
He was an inventor.
What are you doing with that?
Well, he came up with the where you put the little electricity, but he had the key on the kite, and then he invented the little electricity thing. But yeah, he was an inventor.
Does anybody know anything Benjamin Franklin invented?
Franklin stove.
He invented a stove.
Yes, he did.
Most people know him as a printer. And the guy who wrote it. What was his famous
Poor Richard's Almanac.
almanac? And he wrote a thing. He wrote a lot of little quips like that.
I found this one
Early to
fascinating.
bed, early to
Yeah,
rise.
so we did that early July as well.
Oh, yeah.
And healthy, wealthy lives.
Right.
So he wrote many more of these things.
Any sense?
Oh, yeah.
Well, when I was reading this book, I earned this book, believe me. So this is like one of the first ones that came out, right? Director, am I right?
Yours was Red, White, and Blue.
No, this is my original.
It is.
Yeah. This is my very original.
Okay. So I guess Will's class. They were Red, White,
Yeah. But this, I read through it from time to time. It's very interesting. All the things that I do read in it, I keep, dear to me, being that it took a long time to earn this book. In class, I learned a lot of things in here, and memorization was one of them. So I do pick this book up from time to time. I read the poems, and this was one of the ones that stuck with me.
Good. Okay. Well, yeah, thank you. Good job.
All right. How much do you get us out?
Right.
It's a lot, about 3 more weeks. Structure's bad. Yeah.
Wait. I was gonna take.
Hey, Zeus, you're taking over my spot for a second, right? You're gonna do 3, 2, 1.
Right on set.
3, 2.
Hello, my name is Matthew Gordon. This is my 7th week at Larson. I'm going to be doing my 2nd attempt at Elizabeth Barrett Browning's How I Love Thee, Let Me Count the Ways. How I love thee, let me count the ways. I love you to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach while feeling out of sight for the the state of being the ideal grace. I love thee for every day's complexity. I apologize, people. It's going to be a very difficult reading for me. I love thee to the depths of to the height of every day's most quiet need. By sun and candlelight, I love thee as men strive for right. I love thee as they turn from grace, faith, fear, and praise. I love thee to the common core. I help you guys. I love thee with a passion. As I
But to you.
As I what?
But to use.
Passion put to use.
Oh, I love thee with a passion put to use for my childhood's grief, my childhood faith, and for my every saint's fear. It's, I apologize once again. This is a bad attempt, and it's going to start.
You're doing great.
I don't want to. It's not going to help me. I'm telling you right now. I understand what the problem is with the poem, and it's not ever going to get fixed. This is rote memorization for me. I have absolutely no connection to it. The meter's bad. I don't like the style. Most importantly, there are 15 different words. I can throw this into a blender and then just throw it on the wall, and I can read it, and that would make it just as much sense because a lot of these words, they fit everywhere. It doesn't tell me a story. I have nothing I can have reference to. I'm a very negative person.
Remember, this is one of the world's most famous poems.
I hate it. So we could try again. It won't be any prettier. I'll try again. I love you. Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach while feeling out of sight. For the ideal, for the being and the ideal grace. I love thee I love thee to the level of everyday's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. I love thee I love thee freely has been strived for right. I love thee purely as they turn from fear, praise. And the last paragraph is a disaster. So I'm going to take a fail on this and not waste anyone's time.
I love you.
I love thee. With a passion, put to use by my old grief and my childhood fears. Faith. I love thee with all the tears, cheers, fears.
I love you. With the love I seem to lose.
With the love I seem to lose for my quiet saint, lost saints. And if God should,
I love you with the breath.
I love thee with the breath and height and tears. And if God should so wish, I will love thee even greater after death.
Good job.
It's a terrible
Not clapping for the performances.
Oh, no, I'm not bothered by it.
No,
It's
nervous.
No, you did really good.
all right, who's up? Who is it?
Let's see. Okay, come on, that's easy to follow what I did. Come on. I opened the door. Come on. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you'll be ready. 3, 2.
Hi, I'm Larissa Smith, and I was attending Larson's Training Center. I also graduated on the 18th of this month. I'm gonna read How Do I Love Thee? Let Me Count the Ways. I don't know this poem, I like it. By Elizabeth Barry Brown, 1806, 1861. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach. When feeling out of height, when feeling out of sight for the ends of being and the ideal of grace, I love thee to the level of every day. Most quiet needs by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use, and my old grief and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with the love I seem to lose with my lost saint. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears, and all of my life. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death.
It doesn't work if you're not there and I'm talking.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say, as always, you do a very good job delivering the poem. So you deserve to be acknowledged for the energy you put into it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so what was that poem about?
To me, it's about, I don't know how, but to me, I'm from my own way. that it's about how you love a person. You know, that you've been through so much, and you know, and that person probably been through a lot, and you still got forgiveness and understanding, and still loving that person and helping.
I think that's exactly what Elizabeth Barrett was thinking when she wrote that.
Thank you.
Well, why don't you start ambiguous in the last line? So you told me to think about the fact that she died first and she knew she was dying. That's written badly.
No, not really.
I will be better after that. It sounds to me like she's talking to her dying husband, not the other way around.
If keyword, I think on that sentence is the word if.
If God chooses, I can love thee from heaven more than I can love you on earth.
Better ask.
Oh, no, I know it is.
Where did
You heard me doing my recital.
Okay, we got Larry. As well. Larry's on the same end of the spectrum as Phyllis. Does a good job delivering. I remember Don said, he always did a good job delivering. Did you see him?
Oh, yeah, he moved out. He's on Jersey. Yeah, we got to cut back.
Right on the set.
Oh,
My name is Jesus Sanchez. This is my ninth week at Larson Training Center, and I will be reading The Charge of the Light Brigade, written by Alfred Lord Tennyson, from 1809 to 1892. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death, rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said, into the valley of death, rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, whether a man dismayed, not though the soldier knew someone had blundered. There's not to make reply. There's not to reason why. There's but to do and die. Into the valley of death, roll the 600. Cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon in front of them. Volley and thunder, storm with shot and shell. Boldly they rode and well, into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell, rode the 600. Flashed other sabers, bare, flashed as they turned in air, savoring the gunners there, charting an army while all the world wondered. Plunged into the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the saber stroke, shattered and sundered. Then they rolled back, but not the 600. Cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered. Storm and with shot and shell, while horse of the hero fell. They had fought so well, came through the jaws of death, came back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade, or the wild charge they made? All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made, honor the Light Brigade, noble 600.
Good job.
Larry.
Do you get nervous?
Larry's never nervous.
Oh, yeah, I do. That's why I always like to get it over with.
Yeah. I think it's better.
Deanna.
Yeah. Quiet on the set.
Ready in 3. Oh, 2.
But
All right, please. Deanna, I messed up.
Quiet on the set.
All right, we're gonna be ready in 3, 2.
Hello, my name is Larry Spellman. This is my fourth week at memorization test. The poem I'm going to recite is A Smile, authors unknown. Let the others cheer the winning man. There's one I hold worthwhile. 'Tis he who does the best he can, then loses with a smile. Beaten he is, but not to stay down with the rank and file. that man will win some other day who loses with a smart family. Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Let's start to memorize.
You got these nailed.
Huh?
You got them nailed.
Deanna, you need to close it out.
Good job, Deanna Jackson.
That one was hard to speech.
Yeah, there was one line that was.
I think you did that one well.
Mhm.
I like connected two together, two lines together, I think.
Down with the regular, that's how I feel. Yeah, I try to keep the meter flowing. Otherwise, there's always the ways that you haven't printed out. It's
How they,
I'm not that way.
Same like I say quiet on set.
Yeah. Well, it's that we're ready in 3, 2.
Hi, my name is Deanna, and I am still here currently attending Larson Training Centers, and today is my graduation. And I'll be reading The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Okay. Happily, happily, happily onward, all in the valley of death, rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death, rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade, was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew someone had blundered. There's not to make reply, there's not to reason why, but there's but to do and die. Into the valley of death, rode the 600. Cannon to the right of them. Boom! Cannon to the left of them. Cannon to the front, in the front of them. Volleyed and thundered. Stormed at with shot and shell. Bodily they rode, boldly they rode and well. Into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell, rode the 600. Flashed all their sabers bare, flashed as they turned in air. Sabering the gunners there, charging an army while all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke, right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian reeled from the saber stroke. Shattered and sundered. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to the right of them.
Boom.
Cannon to the left of them. Boom. Cannon behind them. Boom. Volleyed and thundered. Stormed and with shot and shell, while horse and hero fell. They that had fought so well came to the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, wild charge they made, all the world wondered. Honor the charge they made, honor the Light Brigade, noble 600.
Yeah.
And I want to thank everybody for joining in, watching our memorization at Larson Training Centers.
Good night.
Good night. Right
Stop at the red button.
not the way my
there?
Yeah.